guess I'm gonna go. I guess I need this for the live version. Good morning, everyone. Intimate crowd. Hope we have a lot of people online. For those that don't know me, my name is Lynn Palmer, and I am the president of the Chamber of Commerce this year. Thanks for being here in person. We hope maybe we'll get some stragglers in here. I guess I wanted to start to say, feels like we are rounding a corner here, even though we woke up to, 2 inches of snow. And hopefully some normalcy will be returning. Most of us are without masks. It's lovely to see. I want to just make a comment to all of those that are here and online and give praise to members for adapting and being creative and responding to the challenging reality. And I want to specifically share a thank you to the Board of Selectmen for hosting us here today. And also to Sherith and Mike at Harmony Coffee House for the amazing coffee. A little round of applause for you guys. Thank you. So today at our meeting, we are realizing one of our 2022 goals to build greater awareness within our membership. The Board of Directors are here to share insight and information that we are aware of that is relevant to your organizations and to our mission as a chamber overall. So to that end, we will be focusing the meeting on the upcoming town vote, which is Tuesday, March 8th. And I'm going to talk more about that in a moment. But right now I'm going to turn it over to Mary, our amazing executive director, and she's going to give us a report and update.
Good morning, everyone. And another snowy morning in Wolfeboro. We like that, right? It is winter still. A few things that I'm going to offer today are just reminders of some items, and then a little bit of new information for you. A reminder that we are currently taking reservations for advertising in the Wolfeboro area brochure. That's the digital and printed brochure, and it's not too late. So I'd love to work with you if we haven't talked already about making sure your business is represented in it the way you want. There's lots of choices there. We are continuing to look forward to some in-person networking meetings, as well as the continuation of our third Thursday cybernetic networking meetings. So that is coming up on March 17th. And if you need help with getting the link or you haven't seen that, please let me know and I'll make sure you have the information to join that meeting. We have our March Chamber Social that's taking place on March 23rd, and that will be at Van Otis Chocolates. So we're looking forward to being inside that lovely shop. Again, that's March 23rd, and this is our next quarterly meeting. We have June, September, December, so some are already reserved, but if you're interested in hosting a meeting, you can do that in your place of business, or we can arrange for a location for your business to host. If you're interested in doing that, we have our teams, our 2022 teams are well underway. They started working on their strategies and goals back even before December. One of them is our marketing and events team, and I'm pleased to announce today that if you haven't heard already that we're doing the first Wolfeboro Area Restaurant Week. It will be April 16th through the 24th. And this is really to, it just appeals to residents as well as people outside the area who we want to draw into the Wolfeboro community, and just expresses Wolfeboro in a greater way or in an additional way as a foodie destination. So Restaurant Week, April 16th through the 24th, and that team is including a special event on Saturday the 23rd, which right now we know will include a chowder competition and maybe some more food festival type event along with that on that Saturday the 23rd. and that's April. And also I want to note that there's no cost for members to participate in that restaurant week. So along with that, that team is responsible for planning other events. Our community events we typically schedule outside of July and August when there's already a lot of people here and things going on. So we have reached out to businesses and we're asking you to tell us if what would you like to see, what works for your business. So we've gotten some feedback already, but we certainly want to hear from as many of you as possible. So if you have ideas on either continuing what we may have done in the past, but making, enhancing that, making it even something a little different, or if you have an idea for a new event, now's the time. So there's a little bit of a process. Of course, we need to get those events on your calendars, most importantly, so you can plan accordingly. We are thrilled to go back to the Board of Selectmen and ask for temporary event permits to make those happen as well. So it's a little time sensitive, but still time to get your ideas to us. And you're always welcome to talk with any member of the Board of Directors, whatever works for you as far as that communication. And I just want to, while we're still on the marketing and events team comments, I want to mention that we're very thankful, going back to Restaurant Week, that we have a presenting sponsor, and that is Amaskig Beverages. So thank you to them. And there are additional sponsorships available if you're interested in those. What else? So another one of our teams is our fundraising team, and it has, we did a dine and shop raffle. Thank you all to the businesses who donated gift certificates for that. We presented 4 winners with hundreds and hundreds of dollars of gift certificates to local businesses, so keeping those dollars here. And we were able to raise money that we're able to continue with our educational scholarship, and the graduating seniors from Brewster Academy and graduating seniors from Kingswood Regional High School are eligible to apply for those scholarships. And the deadline for that application to us is April 8th. With that, I think I'm going to turn it back to Lynn Palmer, who is the chair, of course, of our executive team, another one of our 2022 teams.
So we have all, I don't want to be too negative, but faced adversity and challenges since March of 2019 with the arrival of COVID. One community in particular has carried a heavy load of responsibility, working with the state government, providing mountain of extra support and services to keep us all safe. And the Board of Directors would like to publicly thank Jeremy Roberge and Huggins Hospital for really stepping up to serve Wolfeboro and our surrounding communities. So Jeremy, just bear with me. We have a plaque for you and your community, and we hope you will proudly present at the hospital. I just wanted to read this to you. The Wolfeboro Area Chamber of Commerce recognizes the professional community of Huggins Hospital for their extraordinary service and diligent efforts during the COVID-19 pandemic. So I'd like to invite Jeremy on behalf of his community and staff at Huggins to come on up and accept this. This means it's over.
I know, I wish. Thank you so much.
Mary's gonna have to take the ceremonial.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
I have to also share that this is Jeremy's day off. And he hasn't had a day off for a very long time.
No, it's okay. Yes, it's fine.
So come on, a few words for
Yes.
people.
Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate this. I can't say enough about how proud I am of our employees. They've done such a great job past 2 years. It's really been incredible to see, but I also have to thank all of you, this community. We couldn't have done it without the support of the businesses, the schools, the fire department, police, everyone kind of doing their part. You know, as Lynn said at the beginning, this community adapted really well, followed the guidance, and we couldn't have done it without all that help. So I wish I could say it was over entirely, but I do feel like we are turning a corner. So let's hope this continues. But again, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate this, and I know the staff will appreciate it too. So thank you.
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we have there's an opportunity for us to draw attention to specific warrant articles presented next Tuesday at the very important vote where we all need to come out and use our voice. What we are focusing on is encouraging our membership to better understand and be informed as we all apply our voice and our vote, and think about how this may impact your own organization. So to that end, the Board of Directors identified articles that had potential for positive and or negative impact on our members as individuals, and also articles that we felt reflected our mission as a chamber. I believe, Linda, there are 41 warrant articles that will be presented on Tuesday. That's a lot. Today, we are only going to be talking about the ones that stood out as most relevant. We have the members from the Board of Selectmen as well as the Planning Board who have graciously agreed to be here today to share insight and some background information for each one of these articles that we've identified, and it's amazing that they are here in person, and an incredible opportunity for us to hear them address these items. So we appreciate your effort today. We are also being live streamed, and this is being recorded. Thank you, Wolfeboro Cable Television. And Mary will send out an email later this week with a link to the recorded version of this if we want to go back. There's also some supportive materials that we brought, related maps. There's a full copy of all 41 articles up there with some tax and budget information. There are going to probably be other articles that you are interested in understanding better, so we encourage you to take advantage of the opportunity that you have, Linda, Luke, and Kathy here today to follow up respectfully with them. A little bit about our process. We are going to begin with 5 warrant articles from the Board of Selectmen, 11, 13, 14, 17, and 21. And then we're going to move on to 2 Planning Board articles, Articles 6 and 8. Luke Freudenberg from the Board of Selectmen, who's our representative on the board, will give you some brief background about the Board of Selectmen articles, followed by Kathy Barnard. Where's Kathy? Kathy's right there, who will do the same on the Planning Board articles. We ask that you hold your questions till the end, just for us to use our time wisely. So Luke, you want to come up and get this started? So again, Luke's just going to give, you can follow my script here too if you want to, Luke, those articles, and then I will share some insight in our board vote after.
Thank you, Lynn. Thanks for having me this morning. I'm not normally a morning person, but I got some coffee in me today, so I am ready to go. Article 11, and I'll read the articles first, but Article 11 is the Pop Whale and Ice and Arts Center renovation and expansion project, and it's to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $6,972,951 for the purpose of structural replacement, expansion, renovation, and equipment replacement at the Pop Whale and Ice Arena. Further, to authorize the issuance of no more than $4,272,951 in bonds or notes for this purpose in accordance with the provisions of RSA 33, the Municipal Finance Act, and further to authorize the Board of Selectmen to accept at least $2.7 million in donations from the Friends of Pop Whalen for this purpose. This article, the estimated tax impact is 0 per 1,000 in 2022. It's 15 cents per 1,000 in 2023, and 12 cents per 1,000 in 2024. It was recommended by the Board of Selectmen by a vote of 4-0, further recommended by the Budget Committee by a vote of 8-0, and it requires a 3/5 majority. And thinking about this last night, you know, we moved here. My parents moved me here in 1986. I was 7 years old, and we bought a house on Port Wedland. And I remember skating outside at the old rink. There was no rink there. It was just a small rink behind what was the old heating shack at the event. And I think I learned to skate, you know, for 2 reasons in thinking about it. You know, I was right around 3rd, 4th grade, and there was a group of guys that were local guys. I was not a local because I wasn't born here, so being, you know, from New York and moving to Wolfeboro, you know, 8 and 9-year-olds, they were really after me. So I learned to skate for 2 reasons. One, because there was a group of guys that would chase me around the rink, so I'd be forced to skate. And 2, you know, at 8 or 9, like, there's a group of girls that you're interested in. So you learn to skate because you want to catch up to the girls. I don't think I would have ever learned to skate if it wasn't for those 2 reasons, but I also don't think the unique opportunity that the Pop Whalen has provided for generations of children to be able to have that and a ski mountain right in their backyard. It's an amazing opportunity. You have a rink and a facility that is now 35 years old, that was put together by a group of people here in town that saw the vision of what an indoor skating rink could provide. Unfortunately, the building's aged poorly. You have water and humidity issues and heating issues because rinks weren't designed back then like they are now. So you've had 35 years of heating and cooling issues, and the damage that occurs with those things over 35 years. You know, throughout the years, structural improvements were made, and back in 2021, we had some engineering, and there was some purlins in the roof that were identified as a problem, and currently, the building does not meet the current code for the snow load, and it doesn't meet the code in the sense of being able to, even if the current roof was able to be fixed and repaired and brought up to the levels needed to for snow load, it still wouldn't accommodate the renovation and expansion of the building, which is, when we talk about making this into a 4-season facility, which it can be. You know, our rink is utilized at, 5, 6, 7 months a year. Most of the rinks in the state of New Hampshire are at least that, and they stretch to 8, 9, 10 months, which we have a large population here in town, even in the summertime. So the rink can be used for a variety of other things. And when looking at the Pop Whalen and the Friends of Pop, and their ability so far to already raise, in the neighborhood of $1.7 million, and their pledge to raise $2.7, you can tell from the community this is a very important opportunity for the town and for the people here to be engaged, and it goes a lot to be said when you have an organization like the Friends of Pop that are able to step up, and you see the signs all over town, support Article 11. You see the presentations they've given. It's a tribute that that they're this interested in being a public-private partnership with the town and invest in a town building. So it's a great opportunity for the town of Wolfeboro. It will provide a building that can be used in the summertime for pickleball, indoor tennis, indoor soccer. The Parks and Rec Department on rainy days will be able to utilize that facility for the Parks and Rec programs, community events, wedding shows, bridal shows, indoor yard sales, car shows, boat shows. Those could all be possible new additions to the town of Wolfeboro. That coupled with the expansion of the existing ice facility will, in the winter, will bring in more tournaments and events, which fills our hotels, which, in the off season, which, people will be going out and eating dinner at our new restaurants, drinking coffee at some of our new coffee shops in town. It's a win-win for the town and for the voters. And if you look how the funding is broken down, it's a 51% commitment by the town, which is $3,549,000. Friends of Pop is 39% at $2,700,000. And then the enterprise fund, because the Pop operates under the enterprise fund, would be funded at 10%, or $723,749. So that's Article 11.
Oops, you gotta let me step in here. So we, as a board, looked at these articles individually. Oh, thanks, Mary. When we felt we had the information, we actually voted on it as a group. So for this particular Article 11, the Board of Directors of the Chamber is in favor. If passed, the renovation and expansion would have a very positive impact on our local economy and, to Luke's point, a more robust, multiple seasonal economy, and also in matching with our mission for the overall quality of life for residents. So this is very much in keeping with our mission as a chamber. So we were in favor of Article 11.
Okay, moving on, Article 13, which is the dockside upgrade Phase 3. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $700,000 for the purpose of reconstructing and upgrading the Wolfeboro Bay commercial docks and wharf. Further, to authorize the issuance of $700,000 in bonds or notes for this project in accordance with the provisions of RSA 33, the Municipal Finance Act, and to further authorize the Board of Selectmen to issue, negotiate, sell, and deliver such bonds or notes, and to determine the interest rate thereon. This article will have a 0 impact per thousand revaluation in 2022. It'll have a 4-cent impact in 2023 and a 3-cent impact in 2024. It was voted by the Board of Selectmen by a vote of 4-0. It was recommended by the Budget Committee by a vote of 7-1, and it requires a 3/5 majority. Phase 1 of the dock construction is currently underway. Docks A and B, which are the docks closest to on the South Wolfeboro side of the phase, were done in 2020 and through the spring of 2021. The second, Dock C through G, are currently underway and will be completed by late April, early May. That was Phase 1 of the overall project. Phase 2 was going to be the expansion of the docks. That was voted down by the voters last year. So Phase 2 has been removed. So Phase 3 is where the Mount Washington and the Winnipesaukee Belle and all the other commercial boats that come to Wolfeboro and access Wolfeboro and pick up passengers would be Phase 3. So Phase 3 involves reconstructing the existing commercial wharf where the Mount Washington parks. It also involves reconstructing about 38 linear feet of wall that is adjacent to from where the Ballard of Mount Washington is, where the pilings are, where the mount ties up to, east towards the town dock bathrooms. That wall has been pulling away from the stamped concrete, and it needs to be torn down to the bottom and rebuilt back up. Phase 3 also involves some improvements to the existing commercial docks out there. So you'll notice that there's a drop-down dock where the Millie B comes in and picks up customers. There's a further dock right next to that that's a tall dock. It sits about 4 feet out of the water, and it hasn't been used for generations. There would be a secondary drop-down dock built on that second dock, which would allow more commercial traffic to be able to come and go from Wolfeboro. There would further be a ramp, an ADA compliant ramp, that would connect that dock to Dock G, which is where the fireboat parks, which would then interconnect the entire dock system and fully be ADA compliant. So some really nice improvements there, and it's really the final phase of the dock construction. There potentially could be a fourth phase from where that 38 feet of wall is being done on that Smith River wallway towards the bridge. But working with New Hampshire DES and permitting, that phase has not been approved, and that's all I have on that.
So the board is also in favor of Article 13. We believe the docks are critical to our local economy and a major gateway and first impression for visitors. As Luke said, this is the third phase. We also believe it would be detrimental to stop any dockside upgrades. And also, as a note, we do have representation on the Town Dock Committee as well as the Chamber. 14.
Article 14, this is the Port Wetland drainage upgrades. This is see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $430,290 for the purpose of securing drainage easements in Port Wetland and constructing an adequate stormwater drainage system. Further, to authorize the issuance of $231,203 in bonds or notes for this project in accordance with our provisions of RSA 33, the Municipal Finance Act, to further authorize the Board of Selectmen to accept at least $100,000 in donations from the Portland Association for this purpose. And also to further authorize the Board of Selectmen to issue, negotiate, and sell and deliver such bonds and notes, and to determine the rate of interest thereon, the maturity and the other terms thereof, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to participate in the revolving loan fund, SRLF RSA 46:14, established for this purpose. This has a 0 cents impact per 1,000 in 2022, 2023. It's a 1 cent impact in 2024 per 1,000. It was recommended by the Board of Selectmen by a vote of 5-0, and the Budget Committee by a vote of 8-0. It requires a 3/5 majority vote. So a lot of questions on this, early on from different people, and I want to cover. This is a very important one. We're talking about a private community that has drainage, and the reason why the board and Dave Ford, our Public Works Director, are so concerned about this project and it's getting passed because Port Wetland sits at the top of Winter Harbor. And Winter Harbor is an area we've identified as not only an important resource to Wolfeboro, but an area where we've had cyanobacteria and other blooms that have occurred over the last 10 years with the development and in that area, and the environmental impacts that not only affect Port Wetland, but affect all of Winter Harbor and affect our most vital resource, which is Lake Winnipesaukee. Without Lake Winnipesaukee, we are in a much different spot, and Wolfeboro is in a much different spot. That is why this project is so important, and it should be so important to the voters. The protection of our lake and stormwater management. So currently, you have a road that has some drainage, okay, but we have a history of drainage issues on Port Wetland due to elevations and due to Main Street, how it meets Port Wetland. This project would work with the Port Wetland Association, who has also determined that this is an important need for them. And therefore, they're going to be willing to put up $100,000 to work towards this entire project. The other good thing is that in this project, Dave Ford, our Public Works Director, who does a fantastic job, has gone out and secured, so 46% of this project would be funded by a ARPA grant, about $200,000 of the total project. The other $100,000 comes from the association. About 25% comes from the taxpayer, which is about $108,000. And then there's 6% loan forgiveness with this state program. It's a unique opportunity, and because there is state money associated with it and federal money, state money associated with it, it's a great opportunity to tackle this now. It's one of the biggest associations on Lake Wentworth, so taking care of the stormwater drainage it's going to affect water quality on the lake. It's going to be one more step in protecting Winter Harbor, and so we've had. I wish I could show you some pictures of the actual damage down there, but you know, for years, any storm, any rain infiltration down there, it all blows out down to their, which is like their dock area, their beach area. So these massive blowouts of sand, you know, any salt, sand that they're putting on the road above, you know, with any type of rains getting washed into their system currently, and just being discharged into the lake. So this is a vital upgrade. It's an opportunity for the town to be able to work in a private association and better enhance the entire town by protecting our vital resource. That's why we support this, and we hope the voters will too.
So, as a board, we are also in favor of Article 14. If this passes, it will be another accomplishment in the town's efforts to invest and help keep the lake, which is our greatest natural asset, clean. So we are in favor of this. And also, just informationally, we do have representation, I believe, right, Mary, on the town's water committee. So, Luke.
Okay, Article 17 is water main upgrades. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $720,000 for the purpose to evaluate, design, and permit the replacement of existing lead or galvanized service connections within the water distribution system. Further, to authorize the issuance of $358,695 in bonds or notes for this project in accordance with provisions of RSA 33, the Municipal Finance Act, and to further authorize the Board of Selectmen to issue, negotiate, and sell and deliver such bonds or notes, and determine the rate of interest thereof and the maturity thereof and other terms thereof, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to participate in the State Revolving Loan Fund. The town has received a Department of Environmental Services American Rescue Plan grant in the amount of $361,305 towards this project. It has 0 cent per 1,000 assessed evaluation in 2022, 2023, and 2024. It was unanimously recommended by the Board of Selectmen by a vote of 5-0 and the Budget Committee by a vote of 8-0, and requires a 3/5 vote. So in Wolfeboro, we have an aging infrastructure system. Some of the pipes through Main Street, up North Main Street, were installed in the 1890s. So they have serviced Wolfeboro very well for the last, 130 years, which is an incredible amount of time considering where we live and the frost and everything else that we go through here. Many of the service connections where the pipes meet and also where the pipes tee off to go to residences and businesses, back in the day were installed with lead or galvanized connections. The EPA has identified those as, obviously a potential problem with lead or galvanization. So this money will go towards, starting the process of looking at and upgrading those connection fees, those connection areas. It's a vital part of our infrastructure. We do have an aging water system. I mean, you've probably seen the guys from Public Works out this winter. We had a cold snap in January and February, and a lot of line breaks out there. They do a phenomenal job repairing those, but this is a good move towards what we need to take care of in our infrastructure, and it's just one more step to preserving Wolfeboro and looking ahead into the future for another 130 years so our water system is safe and effective.
So the board felt that this was a reasonable update to infrastructure, and we support it. It's an essential process to prevent any bursting of pipes, which I think we've had some of that sporadically in the past, which could obviously have a negative impact on local businesses and shut them down, but this will prevent that, right?
Article 21 is the Bridge Falls Path lighting replacement. To see if the town will vote and appropriate the sum of $252,000 for the purpose of replacing the electrical system to include underground conduit, lampposts, and light fixtures along the Bridge Falls Path, which runs from Foss Field to Center Street. The funding for this project shall be paid for transferring up to $42,000 from the existing Bridge Falls Path Capital Reserve Fund and raising $210,000 by general taxation. The estimated impact in 2022 is 9 cents per thousand. It was recommended by the Board of Selectmen and the Budget Committee by a vote of 5-0 and 8-0 respectively. The Bridge Falls Path is a corridor from downtown Wolfeboro out to Center Street. It is heavily used by people in all different types of recreation. It is also used for people to, in their foot travels in and out of Wolfeboro. It's one of the gateways to Wolfeboro. And since COVID-19 and beyond, it has become busier and busier and busier. The Foss Field area has been revitalized. The parking lot behind the new Railroad Museum has been revitalized. There's going to be lighting back there. This lighting is aging. Many of the poles were poles that were actually repurposed from other electrical things before it. You have all different types of conduit that is not run correctly. You have open boxes. You have electrical hazards out there. And I think, a lot of people like to use that path day and night. It's a nice connection to downtown Wolfeboro. It's a beautiful walk along beautiful Back Bay. And this project will, carry the lighting from downtown, which is great. That goes down the Railroad Avenue, goes through the Railroad Museum, and carry it out to Center Street. If you've walked it at night, it's a wonderful area to walk because it is lighted. It makes it feel very safe there. So it's going to replace aging infrastructure. They will trench and install all new underground conduit and wiring, replace all the wood pole structures with aluminum cast poles on concrete bases, install new post-style LED to match the architecture and time period lighting of Railroad Ave and the Town Hall. I think it's a very worthwhile project. It's going to enhance and beautify that area of town and just bring and tie Wolfeboro to downtown area to Center Street. So the board fully encourages, and we hope that the voters come out and vote for it.
And the board agrees with Luke's comments that we feel the Bridge Falls Path is an amazing asset for both the quality of life for those of us that live here, as well as the tourism aspect, and we want the town to continue to care for this type of infrastructure. So we are in favor. So thank you, Luke. Hang on to your questions, guys. Make sure you're making some notes. And I would ask Kathy to come on up and share some background information on the 2 planning board articles. I will tell you that when we talked about these 2 articles as a board, we felt we didn't have enough information, so we didn't actually take votes on these, but we felt it was important that Kathy was here to share that with you. So thanks, Kathy.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm here to talk about Article 6 and 8 on behalf of the Wolfeboro Planning Board. Article 6, the request is to replace in its entirety the permitted uses for the Pine Hill Development District and the special permit use. The reason we want to do this is in order to clarify the uses that are allowed in that district, in order to better be able to examine applications that come before us. Also, there's another reason, and that is that if this passes, we would then next year suggest eliminating the C2 zoning district, which is a very small district in downtown Wolfeboro. It takes in the Bean Park and the freight railroad station, which will is now going to become a museum. So if this passes, we will then eliminate that zone and probably turn it into the downtown area, which is C1. So in order to do that, we would be eliminating some uses, and those uses will now go into the Pine Hill Development District if the voters approve it. So some of the uses that we're going to propose moving are a nursing home and convalescent home, assembly operations, new and used car dealerships, and automobile repair and small engine repairs. Those are uses that are now allowed in the C2 district, where there really is only 2 properties. The special exception uses that are going to be added to the Pine Hill Development District, storage of volatile fuels, garages and filling stations. We will also add contractors' yards for vehicles over 33,000 pounds, and that's a little different than the one that's now in the permitted use district in Pine Hill, and that's for contractors' yard light, which is for vehicles under 33,000. The other issue that we're adding is sexually oriented businesses, and this would be added with new definitions and standards in order to control the development. So that's pretty much what's going on with Pine Hill. And did you want to?
As I said, we did not discuss these as a group. I would say our only concern was understanding it better and having concern when commercial lots are taken out of zones. But if you want to go on to the next.
Okay, and really there are no commercial lots being, that's the proposal.
Right.
Right, okay.
Got it.
Okay, the next article, Article 8, is a proposal to rezone 13 properties from Residence A and Village Residential to the Bay Street Limited Business District. This suggestion came about when we developed the 2019 master plan. It was suggested in 2 or 3 areas for the planning board to take a look at some of these properties that actually now are abut or near to the Bay Street Limited District and consider rezoning them either to the Pine Hill Development District or Bay Street. So planning board last year appointed a subcommittee. Kirk Beswick from Taylor Homes was on the committee, Victor Droyne, Suzanne Ryan, and 3 planning board members. And so the issue was discussed, and ultimately the committee proposed changing these residential properties to the Bay Street Limited Business District. This district is considered a transition zone. It's a zone that transitions uses from the downtown area to a more mixed use of residential, some commercial, professional, institutional, and cultural uses. So it seemed to make some sense because the properties, the 13 properties that are being rezoned, some of them are now used commercially, and it's very difficult for folks when they want to make changes to these properties to do that when they're in a residential zone. So that was the thought behind it. All of the, when the rezoning was discussed, all of the property owners were all sent notifications that this was being considered for the public hearing that the planning board held on the issue. So anyway, that's kind of the background. Okay, all right, very good.
And in terms of Article 8, as Kathy mentioned, we saw the connection to the 2019 master plan, also to extend the downtown in a loop of Back Bay and around. And we saw it as increasing the business potential in the zone, and that was a good thing. So we were positive about it, but needed to understand it a little bit more. So thanks, Kathy, for that. And thank you, everybody, for holding on to any specific questions. One general comment before we open it up for questions, and recognizing that cost to taxpayers is a huge factor in terms of voting. And as we said, 41 warrant articles this year. Wonder if maybe, Linda, you could speak to the overall impact to the tax structure for taxpayers and maybe give us a comparative to help us understand, is this typical or non-typical in terms of the cost piece?
Each year I find it helpful to understand the overall impact of all the warrant articles, which includes the operating budget. This year, there are a total of 41 warrant articles, like I told Lynn. 10 of them are zoning warrant articles, 28 articles that are seeking the voters' approval on spending a set amount of money. There's one petition warrant article under the Board of Selectmen's warrant articles, and there are two that do not ask for any money. The estimated tax rate for 2022 is $5.63 per 100,000 of assessed 1,000 of assessed value, compared to $5.28 per 1,000 of assessed value in 2021. This is an increase of 35 cents per 1,000, or a 6.629% increase over the tax rate of last year. So if you have a house that's assessed at $100,000, it'll cost you $35 more in only the town tax portion. There, you also have county and you have school districts. So because I say $5.63 doesn't mean that's what's going to be the tax rate, because those other taxes are added on there. If you have a $500,000 home, it's going to cost $175. And the reason I say estimated tax rate is because the town may not spend all the funds appropriated in the operating budget or in the warrant articles. Also, the town could collect more revenue than was used to calculate the estimated tax rate for 2022. And if you compared what we had estimated the tax rate in 2021 and what the tax rate is different. And the reason is we don't always spend all the amounts. And so we give you what we call is the maximum the tax rate can go up. So the maximum of the town's tax rate for 2022 will be $5.63. This year, The town applied and received funds from the American Rescue Funds. We got donations, and we got involved with the state forgiveness loan for 4 projects, and Luke talked about a number of them. One was the Port Wetland, one was the Mill Street Pump Station, another one was a water treatment plant upgrade, and then the water main upgrades. Those 4 projects were $4,300,290. The total from the American Rescue Plan grants, donation, and forgiveness loan, the town will receive $2,351,952 towards the $4,300,290 worth of projects. Therefore, the taxpayer will only pay 45.31% of the total cost of those 4 projects. There's also one for $1,270,000, which is for the Laner Street Pump Station project. This project will be funded from the proceeds, the extra proceeds from the sewer lawsuit. So this year's request for appropriation is larger than other years, but is brought back in line by the American Rescue Plan funds, the donations, the forgiveness loan, and the sewer lawsuit. In other words, the town is being able to do many major capital projects without a significant impact to the tax rate. While I'm up here, you will see that there is a voter's guide on the table, and if you look at the top, it says revised. The reason we had to reprint, there was an error on the ZBA, and it said that you get to vote for 2. You only vote for 1. We felt it was a major board and a lot of interest in it, so we redid the voter's guide, so it's correct. So if you take the one that was in the paper last week, it won't be correct. If you get the one that's in the paper this week, that will be correct. And I'll ask you all again to show up on March 8th. The polls are open at 8 a.m., close at 7 p.m., and it's important that we all get involved in our elections.
Thank you, Linda. Important underscoring that last comment. And again, our hope was to bring some information and awareness to our members as we all step in to use our essential vote on Tuesday, which is really important in understanding the impact to you all. So we are incredibly grateful that Luke and Kathy and Linda were here today, and I want to thank you for your patience. And are there any questions from the floor on any of the articles that we just talked about? No? Okay. Yes, Kathy. Thank you.
I do have a question.
Yep.
Specifically about the commercial dock repairs and expansion. I would like to share that 2 days ago, probably folks already know this, but if they don't, I was in a meeting with Mount Washington folks and collaborating with them on their plans for this year. And, you know, we missed them out a lot the last 2 years.
Absolutely. That's great news.
That is great news. They're doing that because their new boat, Spirit, is going to Meredith and Center Harbor, so the Mount will no longer be going to Meredith and Center Harbor. So that's nice to know that, and that's a good reason why we want to take good care of their slip here. We're collaborating with them on the park and ride, that the Wolfeboro Trolley Company, I should have said I am with the Wolfeboro Trolley Company, and so that their people will be able to park at Kingswood and come downtown to take them out, and of course they'll hopefully stay around town a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Because that 2-hour parking limit has been an issue for the Mount
Kathy, you want to, Mary's going to. Kathy, you want to come on up, and then you can face Luke.
Because this probably wouldn't be on the seat. All right, so you want me to do it again? Yeah, just a little bit of it, just to highlight the fact that, what do you want me to say? Absolutely, glad to do that, Mary, and we want to make sure everybody who is at home does follow this, especially when we have good news, right? So the Mount Washington Cruises, I was collaborating with them on their plans as a Wolfeboro Trolley Company a couple of days ago and learned that the Mount will be back in Wolfeboro next year, and not just Tuesday through Saturday, they'll be coming Monday through Saturday every day, so we're going to hear that whistle blow a lot more, which is great news. And actually emphasizes the point that it's so important for us to take good care of our commercial docks so that the Mount will be able to come in and go out safely. My question is, will the work that we're doing on the docks, the commercial docks, Luke, will we still be able to go back, should we choose to, the voters choose to at a later time, and still expand the fingers for the public docks that are used there? I know that way back, and I'll tell you where that's coming from, is that there was a possibility of moving the Mount's position coming in a little bit, and so if we repair those, can we still do that?
I think short answer is yes, definitely. I mean, obviously the voters voted it down last year, and you know, looking forward, that's always a possibility. There was going to be some reconfiguration potentially of the Mount Washington further out Ballard, the stern Ballard, if we did some of the dock renovations with the expansion, but it can certainly be reworked in the future. I don't think that's a major factor either way with that. You know, obviously for next year we have the pilot program that's been kind of expanded with people being able to dock on the weekends and have some help from a town employee that was approved. So, you know, maybe that will get people in and out of the docks quicker, having somebody there to help them, one, and having, you know, just having those eyes down there. I don't think people are going to leave their boats there for as long. So maybe we can get that movement of people moving through the town docks, and, you know, I think that will help. But it certainly won't preclude us from, you know, doing anything in the future if the voters decide, and, you know, if the board decides to bring it back up again.
Thank you very much. And I had a question for Kathy Barnard as well on the zoning, just because I think people don't necessarily know exactly what the locations are we're talking about. Could you explain what the Pine Hill Development District really is? And I guess I can ask the question right out. Is that the PSI location where that business is located, or does it encompass something greater? Okay, and so okay, off of Route 109A, where PSI Plastics is located, is the Pine Hill Development District. And does the changes that you're proposing increase or decrease the uses over there? And will it solve the controversial problems that Easter Propane has had? You're going to need to come up, Kathy. Otherwise, the people out there don't know. I'm sorry. Mary's just going to come back and ask you to say it over again. So.
Okay, it will increase the uses in the Pine Hill Development District. And
specifically that particular business in town that's been affected, how will it impact the request that they've made?
The request for
Eastern Propane?
Yeah, yes, they have been approved.
Okay.
So
thank you so much. I appreciate
okay.
that.
All right, very good.
Thanks, Kathy, for your questions and your comments. That was the goal achieved. Steve, come on up, buddy. Mary's going to yell at me if you don't.
How many zoning board of adjustment articles are there in the proposed budget on the ballot?
Did you hear that, Kathy? Oh, she's counting in her head. Give her time. 9.
Steve, just a clarification, are you asking how many would have to go to the ZBA?
How many are we voting on?
From the planning board.
When we go into the ballot booth to vote, how many items from the planning board are we going to be voting on?
Oh, gosh, I think it's 7.
10, 9?
Oh, and the two, but. Right, yeah, and there are 2 petition warrant articles.
And we do have all of them, and Linda brought us the revised, all of 41 articles are in there.
Great.
So, you good?
Okay.
Well, that was the start of it.
Oh, you better hang on, Kathy.
I bring that up because every year after the town elections, there's a hue and cry among the ordinary people in town that they didn't understand these various things that they're voting on. Hence, the Chamber of Commerce tries to hold this, and the Planning Board does various things. However, I think it's very illustrative of what the problem is of what happened today. Luke got up and gave us a very thorough explanation of the various different articles that the selectmen are asking us to vote on. The planning board puts it all in language that's very difficult for the average person to understand, about topics that are only peripherally related to their daily lives, and they go into the booth, they scratch their head, and they complain and moan afterwards that they didn't have enough information. I submit it's not the voter's problem. I submit it's the process problem. And I think that it's gone on way too long. We have to have some type of transparency in how the town government is run. And obviously, the selectmen are doing a good job from the presentation that we had here today. But since we have 9 articles, and some of them, quite frankly, are quite controversial, but we don't get to hear what they are in a public forum such as this. So I think it's incumbent upon town government and the planning board in particular to go way above and beyond what they're doing to educate the public on what kind of changes they want. I mean, we're not talking about a continuation of government here. We're talking about amendments. We're talking about a change most of the time. Now, whether you're for it or whether you're against it is not the reason why I'm up here. I'm up here because I think the time has come for us to be more open about this. And I submit that if you're a citizen of the town of Wolfeboro and you go to vote, and you open up that ballot, and you don't understand what it is, you should vote no. It's a very simple concept. You convince us to vote yes because you think it's a good thing, and if you don't convince us when we go into the ballot box, vote no.
I would suggest that this is a step for us to go in the direction of understanding and appreciate the fact that Kathy is here today for an opportunity. If anyone is confused by some of the language or would like to have more information, thank you for being here, Kathy, to help people understand that. They can get complicated and pretty comprehensive, but I think that's what Kathy, Luke, and Linda are here today to do, is to spend some time with us as a group or individually to understand what these votes represent before we walk in on Tuesday and use our voice. So thank you, everyone, for your contributions and your participation, and thank you for being here, and thanks for the people online. You know, consensus can be a difficult process, so we just want to be as informed as possible, to Steve's point, before we vote on something that we may not have complete awareness about. So any other questions before we move on? No? Okay. Thanks, Kathy, for your comments. I know, right? Everyone has a Pop Whalen sign. It's the new thing. So to the point, and to Steve's point, let's exercise our vote. Make sure that we encourage our neighbors, our family members to show up next Tuesday. And I would just like to make a plug for the June 9th meeting, which is our next quarterly meeting. Actually, there's a switch of dates, right? It's the 9th. June 9th is the quarterly meeting. Another one of our goals will be to focus on building collaboration among our membership. So this one's going to be more interactive and engaging and fun. So it's going to be at the renovated Rogers building at Brewster Academy, which is an amazing facility. So I'm sure there'll be a curiosity factor there to come to the next meeting. So anything else I need to pay attention to for business-wise? Okay, great. So I adjourn the meeting, and thank you all for being here. And again, I think it's fair to say that Kathy, Luke, and Linda will hang for a little bit, right? Okay, great. Thanks, everybody.